was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live on a Friday, January 24th, 2020. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely Friday. And boy, a lot of hubbubaloo going around right now. A lot of hubbubaloo going around on the Twitter. So we will bring you to reality. Remember, folks, remember, status quo can only grow as far as you take us. Press that like button if you could be so kind. We got 120 people watching already. 81 of you have pressed that like button. So please, 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 everyone press the thumbs up button. The more people that press the thumbs up button, the more people that will see this very live stream. Appreciate it. Also, text. Join our text list. Text 474747. Enter COUP to join our text list. Most people are not getting our notifications from YouTube when we're live, so this is a good way for you to get notified when we're live. We don't text you every single time, but we are sending more texts, and we'll send you a text on Sunday for our live stream, which, fingers crossed, hoping to have a guest that you will like. Still working that out. Follow us at Status Quo on the Twitter. We just passed 13,000 Twitter followers, so we are live there right now, so definitely follow us there. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/statusquo. We're live there as well. And join our email list, statusquo.com. That's statusquo.com. Enter your email there. So, we're actually going to start. We usually don't start with anything related to Trump. Oh, this is a super chat. This is a super chat. So keep it coming in the super chat if you can. We really appreciate your generosity. And if you're feeling super, you should feel super for Jen, because she is freezing her little tuchus out in Washington, D.C. Not only is she freezing out in Washington, D.C. to report, but she is dealing with a sea around her of pro-life Donald Trump supporters. So if you're ever going to feel super on the behalf of somebody, even if it's I guess super chats, you could call them pity chats, definitely send it in for Jen. So obviously the impeachment is going on, but Jen is there last night and today covering the March for, what is it called? The March for Our Life, which is the big pro-life rally in D.C. Obviously there's a whole lot of Trump people. Super chat is working, I believe. Let me test it real quick. Is the super chat? I don't know. I can't test it and be live. So if somebody wants to test the super chat, feel free. So Trump became the first president in U.S. history to speak at the March for Our Life. So Jen went to, interview people. Why do you like Trump? He has told women, grab him by the boop. And he's kind of a religious convert, really. I mean, he was pro-choice back in the day, Don't you think it was kind of convenient that all of a sudden he's this pro-life warrior and other things? So we're going to have interviews for you. They're being edited right now. Jen interviewing some nice young women that, hate to be mean, but are being brainwashed. Got to be honest. But Jen today today got some really good footage in addition to a wonderful interview she got. Before the interview, I want to play for you. This literally scared me when I watched it. So we're going to edit this together so it's a little bit more polished. But here's the raw footage. Jen is showing there's a bunch of young, looks like, I don't know, high school or early college students cheering. And they're cheering because they see somebody kind of like on the balcony in the building above them. And wait till you see who that somebody was. Jen, you know, when you're in the field, sometimes you get it wrong at first. I thought many times in Standing Rock, I heard somebody say, "Oh, that person's speaking," but it was actually this person. So Jen originally thought they were cheering for Bill Maher. It was actually somebody else. Wait till you see this. Oh, I gave it away.
The number of youth groups here it continues to baffle me. It doesn't surprise me. From a personal standpoint, I find it very sad and scary that young people are being indoctrinated this way. They're being told that, Democrats are killing babies, that people are killing babies.
We love Bill Barr! We love Bill Barr!
I don't really know what they're chanting there. I guess there's someone up there that they care about. Now they're chanting, "Hey, hey, ho, ho, Roe v. Wade has got to go." It's actually been difficult to find adults to interview just because it is so overwhelmingly young children, teenagers.
Everybody choose life! See Bill Barr? That's Bill Barr.
Who is that?
Bill Barr.
Who is that? Can you tell me?
Attorney General.
Okay. Oh, Attorney General. Bill
Yes.
Barr. You're saying Bill Maher. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Bill
you.
Barr. Yep.
Okay, so that is Attorney General Bill Barr up there. The crowd is chanting and cheering for him. He appears to be showing support for the crowd. The crowd has gotten really, really excited about Bill Barr up there. He's been waving and cheering to the crowd.
I mean, the only thing missing was him hanging the baby. And this is like, Michael Jackson over the balcony. Remember that? What a creepy scene, if I've ever seen. Thank you for the super chat. Seth Peterson again with the generosity. $70. I love all your reporting status, Coup. Please never stop. Thank you. Thank you. And thank Jen. It's her reporting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mickey Lee Bukowski, $5. Rogan's endorsement ended his primary race. Everyone else drop it out. We'll talk about Rogan in a minute. Lawrence, this is a test. Turn your Conrad station. $2. Thank you. Anat, my lovely girlfriend. Test. We got it. $2. So, first of all, putting aside that Bill Barr has broken all sorts of precedent, frankly, in my view, broken all sorts of laws. To see, Jen, I don't know how old those girls are. My guess is in high school. To see the teens cheering Bill Barr, this lawless attorney general, and I'm not like someone with Trump derangement syndrome. I think Russiagate was a whole lot of nothing. But to see Bill Barr, who has trampled over American criminal justice, The Attorney General is not supposed to be the personal lawyer for the president. Could you imagine Eric Holder going to a Barack Obama speaking at, I don't know, an LGBTQ rally with Eric Holder above, hanging out a balcony, revving on the crowd? Oh my God. Fox News would be calling for them to be quarantined. But you have Bill Barr over a balcony, reveling in like these young teenage girls cheering for him. And what were they saying? Ho, ho, Roe versus Wade has got to go. Ugh, God, it's terrible. Jesus, I didn't expect this live stream to make me sick. How are kids cheering this man? Holy yeah, sorry. Sometimes we got to make you sick. So if that wasn't enough for you, and please revive Jen, she's saying. She's still there around all these MAGA people and Christian fundamentalists. Jen also interviewed a MAGA supporter who thinks Trump should be king. The headline, by the way, if you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, is wrong. I misheard it. I thought he said he would vote for Bernie. He didn't think he would vote for Bernie, but he actually, after acknowledging that Trump should be king, said he thinks Bernie is the biggest threat. So if you could stomach it, I'm going to play you Jen's interview with this fine MAGA gentleman.
Hi, Jen here. And what's your name?
Dion.
And you are with Veterans for Trump, as I see on your flag. Is that correct?
I'm a veteran for Trump. I'm not with anybody but God.
Okay, so you're a veteran for Trump. What in particular do you like about Donald Trump, and in particular his support about today's event?
Oh, in today's event, I don't know. I mean, he just has come out as, whether he is or not, he has come out as a very outspoken pro-life president, more than we've seen in generations, or maybe ever.
What do you think about his past pro-choice feelings and thoughts?
Yeah, personally, when he was, a business person with his own family and his own thought, that, yeah, maybe he was just pro-choice. But once he saw the bigger picture and saw that in a grand scheme of things as president, as a leader, that he would think would just be a better choice to, go towards pro-life movement instead of pro-choice.
And today was historical in the way that Donald Trump was the first president to appear in person at a March for Life event. What do you think that signals?
That signals that he takes big risks. Because obviously in the last 45 years or 47 years, no other president has taken the risk to come out so pro-choice. So I just thought, just like Donald Trump, and just like he's done his whole life, he took a big risk. He knows he could lose a lot of votes by going pro-choice. But he said, he's just going to believe in his convictions and do it.
What would you say to people who, so for example, there are many sponsoring organizations for today's march. One of them is the Susan B. Anthony organization, and they have recently announced that they are putting together a $52 million in what they call grassroots support for Trump's campaign. That announcement came days ago. Do you think that influenced his decision to come out today?
No, he's actually come out. I don't really know much about this Betsy Ross fund or whatever it is. Susan B. Anthony fund. I don't really know much about it. I haven't heard about it yet. But no, he's come out more outspoken for pro-life since he was president, not since today. He just make it, and just like Trump, every single day, his presence just grows greater and greater. So I don't think there was any influence money-wise. I mean, Trump's the kind of president that he doesn't need money. He doesn't even take a salary. So why would the $50 million of grassroots to support him? And also, when it comes to Trump doesn't need advertising dollars or campaign dollars. The only thing Trump needs to do to win the next election is just keep tweeting, because the press and the media, they do all of the advertising that he needs without him having to spend any money.
As a vet, and you're here at a pro-life event, what do you think about Trump's move toward war, in particular lately Iran?
Awesome, great question. Obviously that's close to my heart. You mean, not Iraq, right? You said it right. You said Iraq, because a lot of people are saying that we started a war with Iran, and we did not. The general was killed in Iraq, And it's not a war, it's a I guess you could ask something, it's called a war because it was a one-shot war and it's over. So it's like what we call one shot, one kill, war over. And that's how pretty much all wars should be. If we just stayed with the generals and we stayed away from the population and the people, civilians, then, every war would be beautiful. We could just continue to do that. Just take out the queen bee every single time. So Trump is the first president that I know to actually do that in a really long time, to go straight for the top and the leadership instead of going, from the bottom up. He went from the top down.
Well, we do. America does have a history of regime change wars and drone strikes. So does Obama. So did the last president. Obama had the most drone strikes until this point. That leads to a lot of casualties. It leads to the killing of a lot of black and brown babies. And so in being pro-life, how does all of that play into your view?
Well, like you said, since 2011, since 9/11, we've scaled down the amount of wars. We were in 7 war fronts at the peak, under Obama, and we've scaled it down, and we're pulling out. Yeah, we did put a few more thousand in Afghanistan and Iraq, but for the most part, we're scaling down. So it's actually, at least, the trend is going. The trend line of drone strikes and wars are actually going down, in the last 3 years.
So do you see those things on the same plane? Like, are you marching also in anti-war rallies? Because that's not pro-life.
No, absolutely not. I'm not here I don't have an opinion on pro-choice or pro-abortion or anything. It's just not I'm not a woman. It's not I am married, but I'm not a woman. So it's not really my say what a woman should do with her body. That's whatever the law is and whatever God chooses. But, I'm just out here because I'm average, like I do every single day. I go out somewhere for Trump, with my Trump flag somewhere in America every single day. Today I just did my vets for Trump. Tomorrow I'll just do Trump 2020. And I even have another flag that says Trump 2024 for King.
Well, that would be a dictatorship, right? Like, yeah. If he were to not abdicate after the 8 years, if he won a second term.
It's possible. Not so much as a king, but a 3-term president is possible. All you have to do is reverse, I think it's the 24th Amendment. The 3-term, go back to multiple term presidents. But for the most part, the Trump 2024 flag, for king is really just what I call a trigger flag, a trolling. I'd say one triggered liberal is 1 vote for Trump. So all you have to do is trigger them, then exposes themselves, like AOC or whoever it is. That exposes them, and that exposure shows who they really are. At the end of the day, no, I don't want Trump to be king. But if they say that Trump's going to do that in his 3rd term, I might as well play into it. Let them and troll on that. It's called trolling.
Okay, so you don't actually believe that he should have a 3rd term, just to clarify.
I don't think it's going to happen because I know the military very well, but it would be great if he did.
So you do think that would be great? Sure. There's a reason that we have 2 terms in place. Why do you think in Trump's case?
I think the United States Republic has failed, especially under the Constitution, especially when it comes to impeaching a president, for instance. Under the Constitution says you have to impeach a president, for a felony or crime, misdemeanor. And we're actually doing things against the Constitution every single day. So really, what's the difference? Would I like to see Trump as a king? Yes. 30,000 years of recorded history, about 99% of that globally was a monarchy, for the entire planet. For 30,000 years, there's always a monarchy somewhere. I think it's going to eventually go back to that. I think this experiment that we're living right now is eventually going to collapse. And it would be good to have a king like Trump who's actually a good king. There have been good kings in history. Lots of it. You go back to King Vladislav, whatever, Poland, he was a great king. There has been some great kings, so I wouldn't mind seeing him as king.
So with him as king, you seem to think like hasn't done anything wrong. In your view, has Trump done things wrong in his office? Obviously, we've had Russiagate. Now we're in the impeachment trial.
We've had a lot of things he's been accused of being wrong. Yes, lots of things that he's been accused of being wrong. And the problem is that when you see these accusals in the media and you see these headlines, Russia, whatever, collusion, people just start believing it. And like as you just said, things that he has been found, people have already been judged him as guilty just because the amount of times it's been written in the headline, but not actually proved in court, not proved in the Mueller report. Even Solon himself, the person who actually made the deal between Zelensky and Trump, said no quid pro quo. I want nothing. Give Zelensky what he wants. And there you go. There it is at the end of the day. So Do I think Trump is definitely not perfect? That's for sure. I live in New York City. I know Trump very well. Not a perfect guy, but he's really good for what we need today. And I'd say that's what America needs right now is a big boot in the butt.
So with the fact that he says he surrounds himself with the best people, the fact that so much of his administration has left already, what do you think that says about his leadership skills? The fact that, he's not really bringing the best people, is he?
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, the only person you can really count on is yourself. So Trump counts on himself first. And, just what we say down on Wall Street, churn them and burn them. If the shoe doesn't fit, get rid of it. I think, for a good example was General Mattis. That was a good choice. Trump went for the war dog of war dogs, Bolton and Mattis. Bad choices because, Trump is not that war dog, but he did learn a lot. Each person that he is churning through his administration, he's at least learning all of his mistakes very quickly. Instead of leaving them in there to fail, further, he'll just cut them loose.
Okay, last question here. Which Democrat do you think has the best chance of beating Trump, if any of them do, in your opinion?
I don't even want to say it, but of course Bernie. Bernie, I travel around the country a lot. Bernie has the biggest movement. There's no excitability with Joe Biden, less excitability with Joe Biden than Hillary Clinton. That's for darn sure. Nobody's excited for Joe Biden. The people are actually excited for Hillary. But I think if Bernie, it's a bad thing if Bernie wins the nomination. And thankfully, we know the Democrats won't allow him to win the nomination, because of his age or just because he's too extreme. So hopefully Biden wins the nomination and then Trump will win instantly, automatically.
Thanks for interviewing.
Well then. Oh boy. Smeary, I saw your super chat, by the way. Super chat. $5 from Smeary. What do you think of the Joe Rogan situation? I'll get into that in a minute. Thank you for the super chat. And by the way, we got 320 people watching, 210 of you have pressed that like button. If I could get another 100 of you to press that thumbs up button right into the video, that will help us get the viewership up. Press that super chat. Smeary, I didn't miss your super chat. I just read it. $5. What do you think of the Joe Rogan thing? I'm going to get to that, but I want to focus on this first. So, I don't know what was scarier about this gentleman. First of all, it was amazing. I mean, obviously Jen didn't do anything for this, but it's amazing that the drums and the war music are playing in the background. This guy says, let's just go back to how human history has done it, because all these monarchies and kings have worked out so well. So well. Go ask Rome. Let's just go back, because Trump would be a good king. He'd be a good king. And what's unbelievable, and by the way, the reason we're covering this is, yes, we focus on the Democratic Party. Yes, we focus on Joe Biden being a liar and Warren moonwalking and, got to take on the corporate Democrats. But we have to remind you of the real scary thing we're up against if Trump wins re-election. I mean, you got young high schoolers, young teenage girls chanting, but Bill Barr, hey, ho, ho, Roe v. Wade has got to go. You have, and I got news for you, because I went around the country not so long ago interviewing Trump supporters. There's more Trump supporters that view it that way. That would be totally fine. Call him a king, call him a dictator, call him whatever you want. With Trump having complete say, with no checks and balances on our society. And remember, Trump has joked. If somebody jokes about the same thing over and over, there's got to be a little bit of truth about having a third term, maybe being president for the rest of his life. So there's a real threat here. There's a real threat if this man wins re-election. And by the way, again, I don't buy into Russiagate. I do definitely think the Ukraine thing is legitimate. I totally disagree with some of my friends on the progressive left. I mean, I always say, provide me evidence. There is evidence that Trump did some shady things when it comes to Ukraine, and I just disagree with some on the progressive left that kind of regardless, they say, oh, well, Adam Schiff is terrible and the Democrats are terrible, so this is also terrible. I mean, two things can be true at once. Trump definitely did corrupt things when it comes to trying and, frankly, bribe the foreign leader of Ukraine. I don't know why. I mean, it's just, if you look at it objectively, it's there. I call it like I see it. I don't cover Trump 24/7, but if he's done wrong, you got to say it. But what's really scary to me about all this, if Trump wins re-election, I mean, you literally have an attorney general coming as a booster for Trump's political events. You have the attorney general standing over a balcony so that mostly young preteens or teens can cheer as they talk about repealing Roe versus Wade. Oh, by the way, if Trump wins re-election, we all pray, but I mean, Ruth Bader is getting older, right? They already have a 5-4 lead. So it is critical to beat this guy. I don't know how else to say this. It is critical to defeat this man because I think the corporate Democrats are the reason Trump was elected. They forced a weaker candidate through, and a lot of the anger and a lot of the hope, a lot of the anger, a lot of the hopelessness, a lot of the appeal in the industrial Midwest to Trump is a result of these toxic neoliberal policies. And the corporate media doesn't want to focus on that. But we also can't, that is true, but let's not lose sight of the madman in the White House. So, great reporting by Jen. We're going to have more videos and more interviews that she's done. We haven't even edited any of them. That's all raw footage. But we're just trying to show you what's going on. Because, I mean, I'm not there, but I assume as a progressive woman, if we have the technology, hint, hint, sign up, join Status Coup as a member. Apologies, we're going to go black for a second because I didn't have time to add the graphic before we went live. Hold on. We're at 830 members right now. So if you support Jen, if you support Status Quo's in the field reporting that, frankly, few others are doing, the real reporting, not just regurgitating what government officials tell us, not just regurgitating what the CIA and the deep state tell us, sign up, statusquo.com/join, become a member for as low as $5 a month. And I look forward, Jen and I have our monthly members call next week with our members. We do a video call once a month. We're actually doing 2 this month because we missed it. We didn't do it in December. So we're doing our second one next week. I look very, very forward to hearing the behind the scenes from Jen. And by the way, we posted for members. Damn it. I tried to post for members. We're going to post. Jen did a behind the scenes video already for members. So we're posting that later today. So we'll already have a behind the scenes members video for you from Jen's reporting there. But what I think is really, really striking about all this is there is a lot of Americans, not even terrible people, susceptible to this to a fascist. I mean, he is a fascist. Is he Adolf Hitler? No, I don't think so. But there's different forms of fascism, and Trump is exhibiting fascist tendencies. And Bill Barr standing over there like he's like, if you watch Game of Thrones, like the hand of the king, overlooking, the peasants down there is scary shit. Poopy Cakes, $1.99, £1.99 in the Super Chat. Thank you. And remember, this is a Super Chat. Keep it coming if you can. So we'll have more of Jen's reporting as the days go on. She's doing more interviews there. So very, very exciting. A Super Chat person asked me, what do I think about the Joe Rogan fracas? I wasn't going to talk about it because I think it's much to do about anything, but much to do about nothing. But I will briefly give you my thoughts before we get to another topic. Listen, I'd be lying if I pretended we don't want to get on Joe Rogan's show. I mean, that's the truth. We want to get on Joe Rogan's show. He's got the biggest audience that I know of on YouTube. Jen and I have a story coming out that I hope he's going to be interested in because obviously if we get on Joe Rogan's show, that would totally introduce Status Quo to a whole new audience that has not seen it yet. So I definitely want to get on Joe Rogan's show, but I'm also going to keep it real, as I always do. Listen, Joe Rogan presses, he doesn't fit in like left, right, center. He's not any of that. And I think that's what kind of appeals for a lot of people that watch him. He's not really an ideologue. And he also, I believe when I watch him, he is learning as he goes. He doesn't pretend to be an expert on the things he's interviewing. So I think the audience that watches him feels like they're learning along with him. I don't watch a ton of his stuff, but the few things I've seen I thought were good. So I've seen some clips that are circulating around today, mostly from, the folks that live on Wokeback Mountain. Yes, I coined that. We're going to try and trademark it. Wokeback Mountain. But are there some things he said in the past that are troubling? Yeah. I'm not going to pretend. I mean, he dropped the N-word quite a lot. He's not black. I think he said something about black people in Planet of the Apes, which is troubling. I'm not going to pretend that I've spent all day looking into his comments, so I'm not, has he made comments, not recently, but like years ago that are troubling? Yeah. But I also think, like, should we hang that on Bernie Sanders? I mean, he's not exactly like standing up there with Louis Farrakhan, Joe Rogan. I mean, he's made comments that are controversial, probably insensitive, but he's also a comedian too. So to me, I personally think, listen, guy's got a humongous audience. He has had reputable people on. There's a hypocrisy in this as well, because Joe Biden's campaign tried to get Joe Biden on there. Warren's campaign tried to get Warren on there. Pete Buttigieg's campaign tried to get Petey on. So they didn't seem to be so offended by his previous comments when they tried to get on there to maximize his audience. And I guarantee you, if any of them got on there and Joe Rogan endorsed them, the very people outraged on Twitter right now would be silent. Completely silent. Just like these same people screaming about that Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie and Bernie's campaign elevated it, I haven't heard a damn one of them. And to me, one of the most outrageous things that the media has ignored, if you read Ronan Farrow's reporting that he won a Pulitzer Prize for on Harvey Weinstein's repeated sexual assault of women, repeated sexual harassment of women, Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to stop Ronan Farrow from continuing on with that story. I don't hear any of the people from Wokeback Mountain upset about that. And I'm not trying to do like whataboutism here. I could understand if African Americans are offended by some of the previous things Joe Rogan has said. I could understand that. But the intellectual dishonesty, the hypocrisy, the intellectual lack of consistency angers me. So bottom line, I'd love to get on Joe Rogan's show. Jen would love to get on Joe Rogan's show. I don't endorse everything he has said. And I honestly think this whole, like, what do they call it? Cancel culture, where if somebody doesn't completely agree with you, or they disagree with you on like a fundamental issue. For example, Joe Rogan has said, I might be paraphrasing or I might have it wrong, that transgender women shouldn't play, I think, in boys' sports or shouldn't be in boys' locker rooms. I might be getting that wrong, but something about transgender people, transgender women not playing sports or something like that. I don't agree with that, but does that mean I should hate him or not watch him? No. Like, this Donald Trump used the whole PC thing to be racist. He said, oh, everything's so politically correct. That was just a veneer to be racist. But I do think there is a little bit too much PC in this culture where you don't have to cancel someone just because some of their views are completely against yours. I mean, my father loves Trump. Should I cancel him? Should I cancel my father? So that's what I think about that. Now, oh, by the way, what the Bernie Sanders campaign has said about this, since it's been a big to do on the interweb. Let me get to it. Sorry that the statement is small. The goal of our campaign is to build a multiracial, multi-generational movement that is large enough to defeat Donald Trump and the powerful special interests whose greed and corruption is the root cause of the outrageous inequality in America. Sharing a big tent requires including those who do not share every one of our beliefs, while always making clear that we will never compromise our values. The truth is that by standing together in solidarity, we share the values of love and respect that will move us in the direction of a more humane, more equal world. So, basically, they're saying, like, you don't have to agree with every person that supports you. You know? You don't have to, everybody doesn't have to agree on every single thing. And even if some people's opinions are radically different than ours in some key issues, that doesn't mean we're going to conform to those people's views. You know, when the Democratic Party says this is a big tent, that means we accept as part of the tent, we open up the door of the tent for Wall Street, fossil fuel, big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley. When Bernie Sanders' campaign uses it, they're saying we'll accept some people, even some Republicans who are working class. Yeah, maybe they're pro-life and we're pro-choice, but we're not going to adopt pro-life positions to court them. We're going to stand with our convictions, and a lot of those people are going to come to us anyway, because even though we don't provide them every position they believe, even though we're not pro-choice to maybe a pro-life person, they'll gravitate to us because of the economic working class issues that Bernie is speaking to. So to me, I say, yeah, he said some troubling things. I personally think, what's more troubling? The fact that Joe Rogan said some troubling things and Bernie Sanders' campaign is welcoming his endorsement, or the fact that Joe Biden literally pushed the crime bill that has ushered in mass incarceration in this country. The fact that Joe Biden's policies have harmed black people, which, by the way, to be fair, Bernie voted for the crime bill. He's apologized since, more than I could say for Joe Biden. When he voted for the crime bill, he said he predicted the mass incarceration provision. But he said, I'm going to vote for it because he liked the violence against women provision. I think that was a mistaken vote. So if I'm going to call Biden out, I got to call Bernie out. But at least he voted for it for reasons you could understand. He didn't push the crime bill like Joe Biden did. So that's what I believe. You mind opening a window, darling? So moving on, speaking of Joe Biden, and keep the super chats coming, folks. And we just got a new Status Coup member. Woo! Welcome, new Status Coup member. What is your name? Kurt. Kurt. I'll just keep it a Kurt. We are now at 831 Status Coup members. Oh, my Lord. I'd love to get to 850 by Sunday. Yes. Can we get to 850 by Sunday's live stream? Yes. On Sunday's live stream, we're hoping to have a guest that you're going to like. I'm trying to finalize that now. So stay tuned for that. Keep it coming. Statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. So, Joe Biden was interviewed today. I don't know where this was. Let's see. It was on C-SPAN. At Iowa's Black and Brown Forum. And literally, you got to give it. I apologize. I don't know who interviewed him. But this interviewer did more pushback. This interviewer did more pushback than any of the journalists I've seen covering the Biden campaign. Let's take a look.
Do you think, though, that it's fair for voters to question your commitment to Social Security when in the past you proposed a freeze to it?
No, I didn't propose a freeze. Look, we're talking about is the time. You mean when we went together and decided?
Yeah, you talked about it in the context of balancing the budget.
No,
so is that something that voters should be?
It was in the context of we saved Social Security during the Reagan administration was about to go under, and everyone from Teddy Kennedy on voted for that. to save Social Security.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Do you think, though, that it's fair for voters to question your commitment to Social Security when in the past you proposed a freeze to it?
No, I didn't propose a freeze. Look, we're talking about is the time. You mean when we went together and decided?
Yeah, you talked about it in the context of balancing the budget.
No,
so is that something that voters should be?
It was in the context of we saved Social Security during the Reagan administration. Was about.
Wowzers! Wowzers! And remember, folks, we got 420 people watching. Smoke that doobie for 420. We got 338 of you. 338 of you have pressed that like button. So I need another 100 people. Press that thumbs up button. It's right under the video. More people that press the thumbs up, the more people that will see our live stream. Keep it coming. And also, if you could be so kind, keep the super chats coming. So I don't know to me, what stands out about this, we'll get to the Social Security part, is how easily Joe Biden lies. And that's because he's been in Washington forever. I mean, I don't want to call him a sociopath, but I'm going to call him a sociopath. That's how sociopaths operate. They don't hesitate. They've convinced them, because they lie repeatedly, but they just convince themselves they're telling the truth. I mean, he knows that he has called for freezing Social Security. And by the way, I'm not knocking, again, I apologize, I don't know her name, or I don't know if she's a journalist or an activist, I don't know. But it's not just that he has called to freeze Social Security. He has called to means test Social Security. He has called for raising the age of Social Security. All of this is a cut. All of this is a cut. So after he lied and said, I didn't call for a freeze, and credit to her for actually challenging him. This is the bare minimum for challenging. No other reporter has done this. I don't understand. It's like these reporters, they know he's lying, and they just stand there like fucking robots. Ooh, demonetized. Demonetized. Keep it coming. Swear jar. So, he's lying. But what's so amazing is some politicians are very skilled on their feet when they're lying, when they're challenged, of muddying the waters. I don't like him, but Ted Cruz is very good, because he's such a liar and he's such a sociopath. He's very good when you challenge him on his lies, his inconsistencies. He's very good at muddying the waters. Joe Biden is not. So Joe Biden just very calmly lied right there and said, I never froze it. And she said, well, you did. And his response was very, very feeble, very, very weak. Oh, you mean when during Reagan's time? So wait a minute. You just said you didn't, and now you're admitting you did. So you're admitting you're a liar. I wish she would have said, you didn't just call for it during Reagan. You called for it during George H.W. Bush. You called for it during Bill Clinton. You called for it during Obama, as Obama's vice president. Sam Stein points it out for the Daily Beast. Biden and Obama spent a lot of months pursuing a deal with Republicans that would have cut Social Security and Medicare benefits. This is a matter of public record. They changed their tune in the latter years, but the history is pretty clear on this. Welcome, new Status Coup member, Emily. Welcome to the Media Revolution. We are now at 832. 832 Status Coup members. Keep it coming. Welcome to the party. So exciting. Can we get to 850 before the live stream Sunday? And just so you know, Jen deserves pity because she is out there with the pro-life, Christian fundamentalists, MAGA-loving sycophants. So she deserves a lot of pity. But I hope you know that I am live right now when I cannot move my neck, left or right, without extreme pain. I am live right now when I cannot move this shoulder without extreme pain. I got news for you. When you go to the mall, do not go into one of these stores that has a massager that looks like a gun. And do not let somebody, I'm not going to mention who, massage you with something that moves like a weed whacker. because 3 days later, you will not be able to move your neck, you will not be able to lift your arm, and you will be in throbbing pain. But I come to you without any painkillers, without any Tylenol, because we need a status quo in this country. I don't know what my point in explaining this to you is, but just sign up for pity. Statusquo.com/join. That's statusquo.com/join. Again, at 832 members, I think on a Friday we could get this even further up. So let's keep moving that needle up. So, okay. So we established that, Jordan, you have endless problems. Thank you, fangirl Corey. We've established he's a liar. But what's incredible about this is, like, right now, for Democrats, you have such a gift politically. You have Donald Trump, who lied his way into the White House. He should thank his lucky stars he faced Hillary Clinton. He said while he was running, well, this is going to be unpopular, but we got to cover everybody. Universal health care. He said, I will never, ever cut Medicare, Social Security. None of that. Not happening. He just said that he is willing to cut Medicare, Social Security. It's something we got to look at, which in Washington means you give me another 4 years. Oh, yeah. Those entitlements, which aren't even entitlements because we pay into it. Oh, yeah. I'm coming for them. He just said it. So you have this amazing opportunity. Healthcare is the number one polling issue among Democratic primary voters. Republicans, when polled, it's up there as number 1 or 2. Healthcare and the economy. You have this amazing opportunity to draw a contrast to Donald Trump, who just said he would cut it. I don't know. There's a candidate out there who's been calling for expanding it for years. There's a candidate out there who is literally on the White House lawn speaking up against the Obama-Biden administration, who is trying to put Social Security on the table for a, quote, grand bargain with Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. That was Bernie Sanders fighting the good fight against putting your Social Security, your Medicare that you've paid into on the chopping block. You're going to put Joe Biden up, who has called not once, not twice, not 3 times. I did it a 4th time. And by the way, it's not just, and, you know, I don't want to criticize Bernie's campaign. You know, I'm not a political strategist, but, like, it isn't just Social Security. They're laser focused on Social Security right now, but I really hope, how about we throw in there the bankruptcy bill? How about we throw in there him voting and pushing to repeal Glass-Steagall to give his banking masters and his credit card company masters the ability to play Russian roulette with your 401ks. The repeal of Glass-Steagall is why we had the 2008 financial crash. So journalists, actual journalists, should be challenging Biden, not just on Social Security, bankruptcy bill, Glass-Steagall repeal, repealing derivatives, Patriot Act, obviously Iraq. There's so many things. NAFTA. Thank you, Tim Toyful, $10. Keep up the great work. Hashtag Birdie2020. Thank you very much. Danny2323, 100 MX. I don't know what that currency is, but I'm going to thank you because 100 sounds big. Gotta fund the swear jar. Sorry for Jen being surrounded by MAGA people. Hashtag pray for Jen. Let's all hashtag pray for Jen. Great work by Jen out there. And by the way, just so you know, we're trying to grow our membership for a lot of reasons. We're now at 832 members. One of the reasons are our hope is to be able to, sooner than later, hire some additional marketing help so we could lift some of those responsibilities off Jen's shoulders and move her more over to the journalism side. She's doing a hell of a lot of the marketing, social media, tedious logistical things that you don't know about and you don't want to know about. And that takes up a lot of time. So we're hoping we could hire, in addition to another reporter, somebody else, even on a part-time basis, to help us with marketing and social media so we could move Jen over to the journalism research side, which she obviously has a lot of talent in. So sign up, statusquo.com/join, statusquo.com/join. So what's amazing about all this, Joe Biden, oh, another super chat. Thank you, Debbie the Bernie Bro, $3.99. He seemed taken aback when she challenged him. That's the point. These quote-unquote reporters, and again, I apologize. I don't know that woman. I don't know if she's a reporter or a civil rights activist, so my apologies. But regardless, she challenged Joe Biden more than any CNN reporter on the trail has, any New York Times reporter on the campaign trail has, any Washington Post reporter, MSNBC. And why is that? Because they are paid to literally prop up candidates like Joe Biden. That's what they're there for, especially MSNBC, who's owned by Comcast, who literally the first fundraiser Joe Biden did was with Comcast's top lobbyist. And Comcast has poured in hundreds of millions of dollars to stop net neutrality. And guess what? Joe Biden is not for net neutrality, or he hasn't really given a firm position. So Joe Biden is a train wreck. He's a train wreck up against Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to be the muddy. What is Joe Biden going to say? You know, he's trying to cut Social Security and Medicare, and Donald Trump is going to say, look at this corrupt crook. He's been calling to cut Social Security for Medicare for, 30 years. I'm never going to let Social Security. Oh, wait, but Trump, you called for this, you called to look at Social Security and Medicare in January. Fake news. It's called muddying the waters. He's really, really good at it. Carne Verde, $20 in the Super Chat. I just figured out that Super Chat isn't available for me in Google Chrome, but still is available in Mozilla Firefox. I wonder why. I don't know. There's some funky things going on with our Super Chat the last few days. But keep it coming, because I'm seeing them. And this is a major way we support. This is a major way that we grow our funding. So, as Joe Biden lies, he is looking for a little lifeboat. He sees his boat sinking. He's fallen back in Iowa. He's fallen back in New Hampshire. And if he loses Iowa and he loses New Hampshire, I don't know how you claim to be the most electable if you, the last vice president, and supposedly the best to take on Trump, loses the first two states. If he loses Iowa, if he loses New Hampshire, it isn't looking good for him in Nevada. A lot of people forget Nevada this time is before South Carolina. So, of course, Biden would love an endorsement that would help him. And as such, we're hearing reports out of establishment land for the people, Kamala Harris, who had that moment in the first debate, attacking Joe Biden. She's apparently weighing an endorsement of Joe Biden. Oh boy. She says, Democrats close to Harris said she wanted to carefully consider the potential impact of her endorsement. She was mindful that two of her female colleagues, Amy Klobuchar and Warren, are still in the race, and she's uneasy about the prospect of backing a candidate only to see him or her lose California. Welcome, new Status Coup member Joseph. We are now at 833 Status Coup members. Keep it coming, folks. I'd love to get to 850 by Sunday when we're going live for our marathon live stream. Welcome to the party, Joseph. We're at 833 Status Coup members. So, my thoughts on Kamala Harris. First of all, Kamala Harris, and I really don't understand some of these politicians. I mean, I do understand, but I don't understand their political calculus. Could they not, read the room? Could they not understand the pulse of the country? So, Kamala Harris, clearly she's borrowing from Elizabeth Warren. She's not going with her conviction. I don't know if she even has conviction. She's just trying to make the smartest political move. So it's kind of like, if I endorse Joe now, obviously I'm going to be really deeply considered for vice president, which she wants. Joe Biden is 77. He's not looking so good at 77. Could barely finish a sentence. Forgets where he is. If he won, could be a one-term president by choice. So Kamala Harris, if she endorses him now, Mr. Biden's going to remember that if he becomes the nominee. But she's also she's up for re-election in the Senate in 2022. 2 years, not so far from now. Well, if I endorse him and he loses Iowa, New Hampshire, and then he loses California, well, then I'm a big loser too. I don't think she's going to lose Senate in California for endorsing Biden and him losing. But all of these politicians, that's why Bernie is so rare. And that's why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is so rare. Remember, took a lot of political courage for Ocasio-Cortez. The day Bernie Sanders had a heart attack, she calls him, I'm endorsing you. Most other people, you bet your damn dollar, Elizabeth Warren, would have jumped ship. Because they're all out for power and they're all out for survival. There's no conviction. So Kamala Harris, she wants to have her cake and eat it too. She wants to make sure that whatever she does, there's no political downfall for her. Well, I got news for you. I mean, if Kamala Harris, who I think when she dropped out was down to 5%, endorses Joe Biden now, I don't particularly... I think a lot of the Kamala Harris supporters already have moved to Biden. Maybe they moved to Booker. He dropped out. I think they've already moved to Biden. Maybe some of them have moved to Pete. Maybe some to Warren. But my guess is a lot of them have moved to Biden. Some of the polls I've seen show a lot of them have moved to Biden already. So I don't really know what it would do for Kamala Harris for Biden if Kamala Harris supported him. Maybe if she got his endorsement, it would coalesce the rest of the establishment around him. But the thing is, and we got 500 people watching right now, make sure if you haven't pressed the like button, press that like button and share this live stream. Makes a big difference. So what's incredible to me about all this is I don't think it would make a dent. The only thing a Kamala Harris endorsement would do is soften the blow if Biden lost New Hampshire and South Carolina. You would think if Harris endorses him, it might give him a little bit more protection in South Carolina. But I got news. If Joe Biden loses Iowa, if he loses New Hampshire, if he loses Nevada, then he better win South Carolina by 40 points. Or he's in trouble. Because you cannot be the most electable and lose the first three contests. And I think if he lost Iowa and New Hampshire, it's very likely the momentum for Bernie. Sure, the media, the Democratic Party will throw it. You think they've been bad to Bernie thus far? You wait. See if he wins Iowa. Oh my God, the knives are going to be out like you've never seen. I hope Bernie's campaign is prepared for that. I think they are. So while Kamala Harris is weighing her political future, by the way, my guess, she'll endorse him. She'll endorse him. She wants that vice president slot. She's willing to take the risk if he loses. Apparently, Elizabeth Warren's campaign is lowering expectations a little bit. Lowering expectations from Politico. Warren's camp warns of a breathless media narrative out of Iowa. Quote, we expect this to be a long nomination fight and have built our campaign to sustain well past Super Tuesday and stay resilient no matter what breathless media narratives come when voting begins, wrote campaign manager Roger Lau in a memo. The 4 early state contests are just the beginning. Woo. Well, what that's called is lowering expectations. What that's called is looking forward with the subtle implication, our campaign's not over when we lose Iowa and New Hampshire. What that's called is projecting strength when in reality you're in trouble. Law said the campaign already had several hundred organizing staffers in place that vote in the weeks after Super Tuesday, hires that took place over the last several months, but that the campaign has largely stayed mum about. The Warren campaign rarely discusses strategy publicly, wary of giving rival campaigns insight into its thinking. But the memo provides a glimpse at the team's plan to try to win the nomination through a war of attrition rather than an Iowa knockout. Despite the campaign investing tremendous amounts of the candidate's time and the campaign's money in the Iowa caucuses, the memo appears to be an attempt to gird supporters for a potential loss there and the breathless media narratives that may accompany that. Lau's dispatch plots a path to the nomination that relies on collecting delegates past the early states, and even beyond the much-hyped Super Tuesday contest. By then, the field will almost certainly be winnowed some, and Warren is likely hoping to collect much of the support from candidates who drop out. That's one of the reasons that campaign has been so focused on being palatable alternative to supporters of other candidates. I'm not going to read the rest. So here's the nitty-gritty of this. The bottom line is they could have however many staffers they want to have in states beyond Super Tuesday. But they also, in that memo, bragged they have the most staff of any candidate. I think other than Bloomberg, who's got so much staff because he's just a greedy billionaire. So they have over 1,000 staff nationwide. Bernie's campaign comes second at over 800. So the thing that doesn't make sense financially, if Warren loses Iowa, if she loses Nevada, well, she's got over 1,000 people to pay for around the country. Her burn rate, which basically means the amount of money you're going through, is one of the highest of the campaigns because she has so much staff. So the beginning of the end for Kamala Harris, we saw, was when she started laying off like over half of her staff. Well, if Elizabeth Warren doesn't win Iowa, if she doesn't win New Hampshire, I don't want to predict it at the moment. If the caucus was held today in Iowa, I don't think she's going to win based on everything we've seen. But if she loses Iowa, you think the fundraising is going to increase for her heading to New Hampshire? I think if Bernie wins Iowa, the fundraising is going to skyrocket for him. If Bernie loses Iowa, it's probably going to skyrocket for him too. If she loses Iowa, it depends. If she comes in a close second, maybe not. But if she loses Iowa, she's got over 1,000 staff to pay. If fundraising dries up for her heading into New Hampshire, and we've already seen it dry up. She raised, I believe, $3 million less in the last quarter. That would be October, November, and December. She raised $3 million less than she had raised the prior 3 months before that. So they could staff up all they want. But if you don't win Iowa, if you don't win New Hampshire, I think she's probably going to have to drop out. At least maybe she'll go to Nevada. But after that, if you don't win any of the first states, second place is not enough. So you're going to have to lay off staff. Well, if you're laying off staff, money is going to dry up from there because people are not going to keep giving money to a campaign that's losing and laying off staff. Momentum is a thing in politics. If Bernie loses the first 2 states, frankly, I don't think he would drop out, but they're going to have to fundraise more. But the difference between Bernie and Warren, I think if Bernie lost the first state, fundraising is still going to skyrocket. I think if Warren loses Iowa, I don't know if fundraising is going to keep coming in hot and heavy. And she has more staff than anyone else. So to me, what this memo is, to me, what it says, knowing politics, my guess is their internal polling is showing her even worse than the public polling is showing. My guess is the internal polling is showing her even lower in Iowa. And remember, if you don't reach that 15% at the caucus sites, you are not eligible to win that caucus, and your voters then have to give their vote elsewhere. So it's not like a primary. She's got to make 15% to get any delegates in Iowa. So I'm telling you, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Warren. And by the way, that is why the fact that Biden has been slipping, the fact that Warren has been sliding, not slipping, she's been sliding. She's been free-falling. The fact that Bernie has been surging in all these polls, that is why you see the sequels to all these things from 2016. That's why you see the sequel brought by Elizabeth Warren, by the way. Bernie's a sexist. Bernie's a sexist. That's why you're now seeing Bernie doesn't understand race. But, hanging Joe Rogan around his neck. And 10 days to Iowa, I keep telling you, I'm predicting the communist stuff is coming out. It's not if, it's when. Maybe this weekend. They're going to start hitting him with stuff he said in the 1970s the 1980s, whether it's the Daily Beast, the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, they're going to all of a sudden, statements Bernie Sanders made have been unearthed, meaning Joe Biden's campaign has been sitting on it for months, probably provided to them by Hillary Clinton's campaign. And they just decided to put it out in the last week before Iowa. It's coming. So we'll see. We'll see. Keep it coming in the super chat. And by the way, we're now at 833. 833 Status Coup members. Maybe we can get a few more before I sign off. Would love that. Thank you. Silver Surfer, $2. Warren is running for VP against Kamala. It's possible. Owen Johnson, $5. Everybody please sign and share the change.org petition asking Bernie to draft Nina Turner as VP and join Nina for VP Facebook group. Keep it up, Status Crew. I love you, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's got to win Iowa. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So before I go, I want to play another in the field reporting that we did. And by the way, if you're new to Status Coup, because we have been getting new viewers, we don't just talk the talk. We walk the walk. Year and a half, this is where we've been with no big dollar funding, no sugar daddies, no bankers funding us, no plutocrats funding us from the Democratic or Republican Party, no fossil fuel money, no real estate money, no pharma money, no silicon money. You, the people, have sent us all over this country, and that's why we're trying to grow as far as you could take us. Our goal is to hit 1,000 by the end of this month. We are off that pace, but you never know. You never know. So keep signing up if you can. I want to play one more interview, this from Marcus, who's out there freelancing for us in Iowa, freezing his little behind off. He interviewed a Bernie Sanders supporter who I thought made a really, really important point. So let's take a look at Marcus's reporting out in Iowa.
Yeah, definitely. And the polls have shown for a very long time that Bernie's the best guy to beat Donald Trump. So kind of looking forward and looking at this situation as a whole, actually, we have Australia on fire, so much smoke that you can see the smoke in Chile now. Yeah, it's that bad. And then we have the situation with Iran. We have the impeachment going on. And this is the story that we're choosing to focus on as a country, is a spat between two folks in a primary, something that happened a year ago. And not only is it something that happened a year ago, it's two folks that it's something that was said in an Emily's List piece written by a woman long before that. And then Joe Biden had also said it in public. And it had been discussed many, many times. So just, does it feel to you at all like this is a disservice? Our larger media is doing a disservice to us?
There's certainly, like you just said, there certainly are much, much bigger issues, I think, to focus on. You mentioned Australian climate. I didn't mention it before. That's a huge issue, the whole climate issue. Foreign policy with Iran and other countries, huge issues. So, yeah, I think we could be focusing on other things rather than this little back and forth he said, she said kind of a thing, because they're just a much bigger issues.
Yeah, definitely. So best case scenario, Bernie wins the primary, wins the presidency, 2021 comes, we have a huge establishment Democrat resistance to him. We have the right wing, of course, going to do everything they can to resist to him. What do you think, as a Bernie supporter that's been a Bernie supporter for a long time, what do you think is the political revolution's responsibility to follow Bernie and to do, or not necessarily follow Bernie, but to do, what do you think the responsibility of these millions and millions of volunteers is going forward, because it's a lot of people that have decided and committed to this idea of political revolution, as he has said. So what do you think the responsibility of this movement is going forward? Best case scenario, of course, we're getting way ahead of ourselves though.
It's a great question, I think, because Bernie recognizes that just winning the presidency isn't enough. You're right. There is not only going to be Republican opposition, but there will be establishment Democratic opposition. I don't have any doubt about that. And so I think the responsibility of all of us to support Bernie is not just to forget things after a caucus, after a primary, after Election Day, but is to stay in his corner and keep pressuring elected officials to try to achieve his progressive agenda. Bernie's slogan is not me, us. He recognizes that he can't do this alone. It will take all of us to get progressives elected and to hold everyone's feet to the fire, Bernie Sanders included. We've got to hold everybody's feet to the fire on this to try to achieve this agenda and just get it as far as we possibly can.
Bernie's not like, people that watch me know that I have my own critiques of Bernie. Bernie is not above critique, and there are things that we need to be able, like you're 100% right, there are things that we need to be able to criticize him on. But also, since we're doing hypotheticals, let's say Bernie doesn't make it out of the primary and folks get really upset and they're hurt. And we're not even going to get past whoever's the president, because whether it's a centrist or Donald Trump, there's going to need to be action. What action do you think needs the progressive movement needs to take at that point?
Well, I think through the political process, you just keep pushing whoever your elected representatives are to back progressive policies that are in Congress. I think you keep looking at putting pressure on who's ever in the White House to try to enact as progressive of an agenda as you can. And I think you try to have mass movements of protests, marches, whatever it takes, nonviolently. I would stress that. Whatever nonviolent means you can take to push a progressive agenda.
You just watched Status Coup's In the Field coverage with me live on the ground from Iowa. We can't do this without your support, so make sure to like, share, subscribe, and become a member at statuscoup.com.
That was Marcus with his wonderful white blazer. I like the pink one better, but I digress. Great reporting out there. We got a lot more interviews he's done that we're going to be publishing here at the on the channel. Status Coup is shilling for Warren? What are you talking about? Who's shilling for Warren? Should we hang the person if they say they like Elizabeth Warren? Jesus Christ. You know, some people, ow, it hurts. I can't even turn neck. Some people are crazy. A gentleman we interview says he likes Warren. What are we supposed to, put him in timeout? My gosh. Great reporting by Marcus. We got more videos from him. He's going to an event for Bernie in Iowa tonight. Biden will be back in Iowa this weekend, so he's zigzagging. By the way, just so you know, it's cold in Iowa. Weather is dangerous. He's driving all over Iowa to provide you this on the ground, in the trenches. Remember, in the trenches reporting. So we hope you will support us by becoming a member. statuscoup.com/join. So before I sign off for the day, I'll be live Sunday. We're at 833 members, so hopefully we can get a couple more of you in the door today. statuscoup.com/join. We have actually, I want to show you something as a preview. I want to show you something as a preview because I interviewed the woman featured in this. I interviewed her today, and we're going to air that interview on Sunday. So take a look at a progressive young woman of color and how she was treated, which called out a corporate Democrat at a town hall yesterday. Hold on. Got to find it first. Here we go.
last 2 election cycles is graded an A, when the grade and the premise of this organization is based on injecting corporate money. It's not just that Tom funds his campaign with corporate money, it's that his policies and votes repeatedly benefit corporate donors who in turn give him more money. I'm getting to it, but I'm giving you background information. Tom took at least $87,000 from military contractors that profit from his military funding votes, and at least $66,000 from companies that profited off his vote to expand detention centers. Tom received at least $126,000 from healthcare industry and refused to support any plan that would negatively impact profits like Medicare for All, which is overwhelmingly popular. Instead, he supports plans that keep costs high for individuals. Tom is also one of the few Democrats who do not take the microphone from me. I have a right to speak. I'm Tom is also one of the few Democrats to break with the party and support the repeal of Dodd-Frank and continue.
I interviewed her earlier, so we're going to air that on Sunday. What's interesting about all that, you have all these woke women on Twitter. You know, the folks from Wokeback Mountain. I'm sorry. I just love this. Gotta keep doing it. You got all these people from Wokeback Mountain. You have a young woman of color, super articulate, calling out this corporate Democrat, Tom Suozzi. You know what I'm talking about. If you're from New York, from Long Island, you know Tom Suozzi. Corrupt as they come. In the Hillary Biden camp. She gets accosted by an old white dude. You don't have the right to put your hands on that woman, to shut her down from speaking. I don't hear any of these people that are so upset. How dare Bernie say a woman can't be president, even though we have no idea if he even said it, because there's no way of knowing if he said it. All these people upset that Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie, but none of them are coming to the defense of this poor woman, who not only was inappropriately attacked by this man, but you had all these older folk around her basically condoning that attack. I guess if it's a woman of color following the money, that's not woke. We can't support her. If it's a woman of color following the money, calling out the corrupt politicians, well, that woman's not woke. She's just rude. Great interview I had with her, so we'll play that on Sunday. I'm hoping to have another interview that you'll like on Sunday, so stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in this week. Thank you for the new people who signed up as members. We will have more reporting from Jen. She is, at the moment, texting me about a fancy dinner that she's going to go try to crash. And I'm sure there's plenty of pro-life, MAGA, Christian fundamentalists to go around wearing bow ties. So we hope to get some wonderful footage there. Support Jen's reporting in the field. Support Marcus's reporting in the field. Sign up as a member if you can. It's as cheap as $5 a month. Statuscoup.com/join. If you've already signed up for a member, spread the word. We can only grow. I don't want to steal Bernie, but we can only grow from the ground up. We're not taking any big money. No. We're not taking any big money. So we're growing $5 at a time, $10 at a time. We have plans for $20 a month, and you can become a member for $179 annually. We've got a $5 plan, a $10 plan, a $20 plan, and $179 annually. I will see you on Sunday, noon Eastern time this Sunday. Hope there's a big audience, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you Sunday. Peace.